Hello there, Benjamin Akapo is my name, and it's time to serve you English made simple for another day. We all know that English can be complicated, but it's also loads of fun if you know what you're doing and speaking. So I'm going to walk you through something else today. You just have to follow the right rules and you'll be good to go. So come along with me. Yes, you can. Today we're going to look at a little grammar, an idiom, a word for the day, and saying it right. So here we go. The rule for reflexive pronouns. You know reflexive pronouns, right? But they can be tricky to deal with. So reflexive pronouns end in self or selves, as you can see here. They reflect or refer back to the subject forms of personal pronouns. Here's why it matters. It is very common to hear and read many people use reflexive pronouns wrongly, in the wrong manner. So, let's take this example. We didn't do it ourselves. Someone else did it for us. We didn't do it ourselves. Someone else did it for us. Someone else performed the action of doing that thing. Here's another example. The toddler put on his socks and shoes all by himself. Here, the toddler performed the action by himself. I'll explain the by angle to you. So here's a quick tip. Reflexive pronouns end in self or selves. They refer back to the subject forms of personal pronouns. So we didn't decorate it ourselves. Someone else did it for us. Here's the subject pronoun, reflexive pronoun relationship. How do they match? Let me quickly walk you through it. I, as a subject pronoun, matches with myself as a reflexive pronoun. You, as a singular subject pronoun, matches with yourself as the reflexive option. He, as the subject pronoun, matches with himself as a reflexive pronoun. She, as a subject pronoun, matches with herself as a reflexive pronoun. It matches with itself, that is subject pronoun, reflexive pronoun. One, as a subject pronoun, matches with oneself as a reflexive pronoun. Then we have we as a subject pronoun matching with ourselves as a reflexive pronoun. Then there is you plural as a subject pronoun matching with yourselves as a reflexive pronoun. And finally, they as a subject pronoun matching with themselves as a reflexive pronoun. Now, when do we use reflexive pronouns? We often use them when the subject and the object of the verb refer to the same person or thing. Simple. Here are some examples. He cut himself on the broken glass. He cut himself on the broken glass. She made herself a cup of tea and sat down in front of the television. That's another example. Or you could say, parents often blame themselves for the way their children behave. Now, we use a reflexive pronoun to make it clear who or what is being referred to. Compare these two sentences. Agnes looked at herself in the mirror. And so the subject and the object are the same there. But when I say Agnes looked at her in the mirror, the subject and the object are different. They are not the same. Agnes is looking at someone else in the mirror in that second sentence. Note also that reflexive pronouns can be used for emphasis. Here are some examples. The director of the company wrote to us himself to apologize for the dreadful service. Or the director of the company himself wrote to us to apologize for the dreadful service. Same meaning. We don't use reflexive pronouns on their own as the subject of a clause, but we can use them with a noun or pronoun to emphasize the subject. Here is an example. Parents and teachers always pass on to children what they themselves have been told, and this has been going on for hundreds or even thousands of years. So, also note, reflexive pronouns can be used with by, functioning as a preposition to mean something is done alone or without any help. Remember this? The toddler put on his socks and shoes all by himself. So, here's an example. Why don't you go by yourself? Or, the children made the entire meal by themselves. Reflexive pronouns are sometimes employed somewhat informally for politeness. We sometimes use reflexive pronouns instead of personal pronouns for politeness, but not as the subject of a clause. Here's an example. The National Trust is a charity depending on the support of people like yourself, or better still, people like you. Note, we don't use reflexive pronouns with verbs of everyday actions unless we want to emphasize something. Like this. She washed and dressed and had breakfast in the tiny kitchen. She washed and dressed and had breakfast in the tiny kitchen. Not she washed herself and dressed herself. Unless maybe someone usually bathes and dresses her, but she did it herself this time. Get it? Let's get back here. So, it is wrong to say, David and myself are responsible for it. Nope. David and I are responsible for it. You would often hear people also say, myself will complete the paperwork. Especially when they've said that someone will do something, then they say, myself will complete the paperwork. This does not work, actually. You should say, I will complete the paperwork, or as for me, I will complete the paperwork. So if you look at our quick practice, what would you put here? Their self or themselves? They cut on the broken glass. You would have to say themselves, the reflexive option. I hear people sometimes say their self. This does not even exist. So remember, use reflexive pronouns when the subject and the object of the verb refer to the same person or thing. That said, let's get to our idiom for the day. Do something by the book. Do something by the book. I think there's a song with Sarkodie and Sway, and at a point Sway says, if you want to know how I did it by the book. It just came to mind. So yeah, do something by the book. What does it mean? To be careful, to follow all the rules or laws, or use the accepted methods when doing something. When you do this, you're doing something by the book. In a sentence, you would say, the auditor insisted that the company do everything by the book to avoid legal penalties. Our word for the day is putrid. Putrid, P-U-T-R-I-D, and it's an adjective. It's pronounced putrid. What does it mean? Decayed and having an unpleasant smell. Have you ever smelled rotten eggs before? Well, you could say it has a putrid smell. In a sentence, you could ask, what's that putrid smell? And maybe you'd find out. Now, in our Say It Right pronunciation challenge today, how would you pronounce this word? Is it informative? Is it informative? Is it informative? Well, it is an adjective and its pronunciation is simple. Informative. You can look at pronouncing the word F-O-R-M. Form. So the stress is there. Informative. Or you could actually, when we talk about someone's early years, we would say their formative years. Sometimes I hear people say formative years. No, formative years. So it is actually informative. The stress falls on the second syllable. Form. That is where the stress is. So informative. And that's our word for today by way of pronunciation. Once more, thank you for learning it, saying it, and speaking it with us. My name is Benjamin Akako. This has been English Made Simple. Hopefully, you had some fun. Catch you next time.